Joe Biden, who still has not announced that he is running for president, even though all reporting seems to indicate that he will, in fact, run for president, appears to have a new gimmick in mind for his announcement. Now, this is not concrete, this is not for sure, but this is one of the stories out there. So this from Axios. Scoop: Biden advisors debate Stacey Abrams as out-of-the-gate VP choice. Now, I have some questions. First up, this story, like not even just this reporting, but other reports I've seen about this story, are all talking about Joe Biden and his advisors and what they've been saying. Nothing at all about Stacey Abrams, which makes me think that Stacey Abrams does not want this, has not been talking about this whatsoever, but Biden and his team, much like the way they did with Elizabeth Warren in 2015, are trying to float an idea out there and see if it sticks. So they're trying, hey, Stacey Abrams, yeah, what if we attach her name to Joe Biden? What will people think? I don't think this is really going to happen because I don't think Stacey Abrams would be on board with this. She has right now a rising career in politics. She could potentially become senator in Georgia. She barely lost the governor's race, and actually the governor's race was stolen from her. But her attaching her name to Joe Biden for VP, I think it would sink her career immediately. Joe Biden would just be using her as a gimmick. This would all be protection for the shit that Joe Biden has done, whether it's the crime bill that disproportionately impacted the black community, whether it's with Anita Hill. I mean, whether it's with his sexism or his the numerous videos of Joe Biden acting really weird with women and close talking and touching and all that weirdness. That's all this would be about. A way for Joe Biden to deflect from those sorts of criticisms. And of course, the fact that people will say, oh, he's so old, which I don't think age should. I mean, I support Bernie. So I don't think age should be a factor. I think whether your mind is in the right place and whether you have the actual policies and history to back up what you're running on, I think that's what matters. Now, before I go any farther, because I do want to share a clip here from MSNBC, because I was kind of surprised that from what I've seen around the internet and from cable news, that this is not being supported in the way that I thought the mainstream press would support it. But look, I had this similar idea for Bernie Sanders. So I'm not sure if it was a video on my channel or it may have been in an interview with Progressive Voice, where I discussed before Bernie had announced that it might be a good idea for Bernie to announce with a running mate as a way to, first of all, diversify the ticket, but also take questions away about his age. Now, looking back, I don't think, I'm glad he didn't do that. But that said, Bernie and Biden are different people. Bernie has a solid history on these issues. I have a recent video where I compare Biden and Bernie's record, and I play old clips showing their votes on different bills and different positions, showcasing how Bernie has been on the correct side of history. Meanwhile, Biden has been wrong again and again and again. So for Bernie, it wouldn't be, if Bernie had done something like this, it wouldn't be a gimmick because he actually holds these solid progressive positions that someone like Stacey Abrams or someone like Anita Turner could also carry with them. But when it comes to Joe Biden, Biden doesn't have that record. So a move like this, taking on Stacey Abrams as VP, would just be a 100% gimmick. Now, let me play this clip from MSNBC where a pundit on here actually, to my surprise, also thinks this would not be a great idea.
I don't like the idea of someone who's running for president, which is essentially a job interview or going on a date, saying, you know, I'm not sure that I can do the job alone. I mean, could you imagine if you were interviewing someone and they said, hey, I brought my pal with me in case I can't do the job? It's just, it's not, it feels like a stunt. Stunts feel desperate. I don't think the vice president needs to do that. If he feels physically and otherwise ready to run and to serve, he should just do that on its own and not rely on any kind of gimmick that I think will fail with. It's practically odd. I mean, is everyone going to pick a VP? Is everyone going to pick a cabinet? Are we going to have 50 people running around? We're interviewing one person for a job. We're going on a date with one person. Don't bring a friend.
Now, the position that mainstream press is taking is that it would also, they think it would be a stunt. It would be a gimmick that it really wouldn't, if it had some kind of splash at the beginning, that splash wouldn't last. Now, I agree with that, but I also think that you have to look at it in context. So I think with Joe Biden, it definitely, as I said, would not work. With other candidates, if they chose a running mate that has the same platform that they do, that also has a history of fighting for the same issues that they do, then it wouldn't be as much of a gimmick in my mind. That said, yeah, I don't even know why Biden is running, apart from him leading in the polls. Now, I know that's a big, it's kind of a big statement to say, why is he running? He's leading in the polls. But it's because he will drop off. He's leading in the polls because he has the most name recognition. He was the VP for 8 years. Of course he's leading in the polls. But Biden, like in all of these races, he's going to drop off very quickly. That's what I think anyways. I don't know. I don't know who his supporters are. Even donors, even like big donors, they're going to Beto O'Rourke or Kamala Harris. They're not going to Joe Biden. Now, will he get money from big donors? I'm sure he will. But the institutional support appears to be behind Beto O'Rourke and Kamala Harris and not behind Joe Biden. But again, anything can happen. This race can change in a second. So I'm just having a super tough time comprehending what Joe Biden stands for, who he's fighting for, what he's even doing. He doesn't have a history of fighting for workers. He has a history of deregulating banks. He was wrong on the Iraq War. He was wrong on the crime bill. He was wrong on gay rights. He's been wrong over and over and over again on many issues that right now especially are having a spotlight put on them. So when it comes to an issue like income inequality, you can't just completely ignore the role of Wall Street in that. And Joe Biden has been a huge friend to Wall Street. So I just don't... Look, go ahead, run. I want Joe to run because it will actually split the vote even more in terms of the moderate centrist type voters. And on the other side of that, you have Bernie Sanders, who I think will get the most support from progressives. But you also have Elizabeth Warren, potentially Tulsi Gabbard, depending how far she goes. So I'm glad this field is diverse, but at the same time, I have a super tough time putting my brain inside of their body and trying to understand what they think their path is. So I think Biden right now is just looking at polls and doesn't really understand that he's leading in polls because he has the most well-known name. I mean, all you have to do is look back to 2016. Bernie Sanders was a no-name, but he made up, I believe, a 60-point deficit and almost beat Hillary Clinton, the most popular politician name-wise in the entire country. So it shows you that really it's about your message, what you're fighting for. So if Joe Biden comes out and he just sounds like a politician from the 90s, I just don't think he's going to last.